Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Brooks. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Sullivan County Legislature. Welcome to today's Let's Talk Sullivan. It's been a couple months since the last time that we've had this forum, and we wanted to restart it up, and it's an opportunity for us in the legislature to talk directly to the folks of Sullivan County, and let them know what the month preceding when we had these town halls, what we've been talking about, and the thought process behind our actions on the legislature. Rob Doherty, our chairman, is with me today, and we'll be discussing some topics that cover what we've been talking about at our county legislature meetings this past month. And the purpose of this is, the hope is that folks will join us and get a chance to hear right from us what we've been doing, the reasons why we've been doing them. And it's a forum for us to talk directly to you, the residents of the county. And we appreciate, we're going to be taking questions, and we appreciate we have one today. A couple came in a little late. We'll address those in our next meeting. But feel free, anything on your mind, send them to us, and we will address those as well. The thought going forward is, as we have these meetings, that we will have other legislators, we will have appropriate folks talking to subjects that are pertinent at the time. And so, with that being said, I'd like to introduce our chairman, Robert Doherty, and we're going to start right away with the first topic today, and it's about the energy tax. And we recently enacted a 4% energy tax. It takes effect September 1st. And our chairman would like to basically clarify. There's been a slight confusion out there, and the reasons behind why we did this. The legislature is trying the best we can not to exceed the tax cap in this environment. As you know, if you've been following us, reading the papers, it's been the COVID pandemic has put extra pressure on the county finances, and we are trying our best through different avenues to not put additional financial pressure on the residents of the county. And unfortunately, this is our 2021 budget. We have to address this, and we're going about it the best way that we feel that can get us over the hump, so to speak. So, Rob, I will throw it over to you to basically just address the 4% tax cap and the reasons behind it, and what our goal is in the end with next year's budget.
Okay, hi, my name is Robert Doherty. I'm the chairman of the Sullivan County Legislature. And when we were discussing different tools to attack the deficits created by the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the things that a group of us was very concerned about was that everything doesn't fall on the property owners' backs, the taxpayers' backs. And so we had discussed, how would be the best way to spread this out over a larger group of people, make the net wider and cast more people in it. As you know, property taxes never get repealed. So on an average home, if we had raised taxes, if an average home is worth $175,000 in Sullivan County, and we had raised taxes on them, it would have been $198 this year. For the 2.5 years, each year it goes up by $198. So your average taxes went up about $500 to $600 in that 2.5 year time frame, and it would have never gone back down. So we felt that if we added an energy tax, which is already part of the sales tax law, we're just suspending the part that says that you're not allowed to charge for it. I believe 22 other counties do charge for this already, but they do it permanently. We're not looking to do this permanently. We're looking for this to sunset in February 28th of 2023. which we chose that year because it's our election year. And so if we're not, people of our word, I would encourage you to vote us out of office at that point in time. It sunsets by itself. We'd have to vote to extend it. So that was our thinking when we were coming up with ways to, close the gap between, our revenues and, our deficits. And we felt that this was the fairest way to go. It affects everybody. It affects the average household about $10 a month, which instead of having to pay the $198, right after Christmas, you actually get to, spread out the $120 over the course of, 12 months. And again, the plan is for it to sunset. And our other plan is to, use this effectively over every household, and then, not exceed the tax cap, which is this year 3%. Each point is worth $664,000, so it comes out to about $880,080. So we don't want to exceed that cap, because when you exceed that cap, you then let your township exceed caps, and then schools are allowed to exceed caps. We really don't want that to happen. We feel that the property tax owners already, are heavily taxed. We feel that, it would diminish the values of homes in Sullivan County, and in Sullivan County, most people's, best asset is their home. So we didn't want to diminish the value of that. So that's basically where we're at with the energy tax.
And it's important, just in addition to, I just want to stress this, that as Rob mentioned, this is something that's already on the books. Sullivan County just hasn't enacted it. Commercial businesses pay it already. Residents don't, because Sullivan County never enacted it. So basically, that's the vehicle by which we discussed, and the reasons why we wanted to take up an approach that we see as a much fairer way to try and spread it out. So the next topic, and it dovetails to this 4% energy tax, is the vote to exceed the state mandated property tax. And maybe, Rob, if you could just explain why the vote and what that means.
Okay, so there's going to be a public hearing on the 17th, I believe, for to exceed the property tax cap. The reason why we're doing that now is to have a tool on the table during the budgetary process. That does not mean that we're going to do that. I want to make that clear distinction, that it doesn't mean that that's going to happen. But if, we expect the governor to cut our state aid by 20%, which is $5.2 million. So just to understand, it's $26 million, and 20% of that is $5.2 million. If he goes further, we might have to exceed the cap. And you have to have the tool on the table when that happens. It's very difficult in November to then go back and do that. So you have to be prepared for everything. That's one of the things I'm very proud about this legislature, is that they're, reacting to the situation, positively, putting all our tools on the table. In a letter I put on Facebook and sent out to basically every media outlet, I ask if you have any other ideas, and a lot of people, sent in ideas. Some of them are fiscally impossible, but it is what it is. But the goal is to be prepared, so that if we have to, we can react to it. I can tell you that the majority of the legislature does not want to exceed the tax cap, but you have to be prepared to exceed the tax cap if we have to. And again, it does not mean that we're going to. It just means that we are prepared if we have to. Mike?
Okay. All right. The next subject is the U.S. Census. And if any of you that tuned into our town halls earlier in the year know that the census was something that was talked about a lot. So I'm going to throw this over to our chairman to talk further about the census because, unfortunately, countywide, we are still running behind, far behind. So, Rob?
Okay, so each person that doesn't register for the census costs the county about $2,500. So if you folks, listened to the town halls and you heard someone shouting out, "Mike, talk about the census," that was me. Okay, every town hall I was there at the time. I was recovering from surgery, and I wasn't able to go on camera at the time. So the census is essentially important because if, as a small county, if we miss 20% of our population, that affects us greatly. Where if a Westchester misses 20% of their population, their budget is literally $2.1 billion. Our budget last year was $233 million. I just want you to put that in perspective. So if they're missing part of their census, they can still survive because there's that much money involved. Where we're more on a shoestring, and that affects us at a greater level.
Okay, we recently created two new LDCs, a local development corporation. One is for broadband access, and the other was for the care center. And Rob, please explain both of the LDCs and what they're designed to do.
Okay, so LDCs, local development corporations, separate the action that you're doing from the government. Okay, so I'll give you an example in the care center. So we've decided to go with a private operator. Okay, so what happens is we create an LDC, the legislature does. We then name the original, we make up how many seats there are on the board, and then there's an appointing authority, which we have decided to be Josh Potosik, to be the appointing authority. So then he appoints the first five people that we decide to put on there. You could have 3, you could have as many as you want. We went with 5. Anything above 9 gets very unmanageable very quickly. So then you are separated. That is separated from us at that point in time. The legislature no longer has any say what goes on in the LDC. So that's why the original members are very, very important of who you put on there. So then they are their own entity. And generally speaking, when you create LDCs, it's by position of someone from the body, the government, Sullivan County government, or someone that hasn't done business with the county in 5 years. It's generally how it works. So then you set that up, and then they take the wishes of the legislator, and then they act on those. But they are their own being. They're no longer part of the government, but they have their marching orders from us, but they don't have to listen to us anymore, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
We set up the parameters.
Correct. We set up the parameters. We tell them what the mission is, and then they follow it. And so like in the care center, so then they will select three people who are gonna, of those 3, one of them is gonna be the future, management company that runs the care center. So the legislature still gets to pick the who it's gonna be, but we don't have a say in what 3 come back to us. And it's designed that way so that it can be autonomous from us. So the reason why you want an autonomous body making these decisions, because they're not running for election. they get to make the decision that's the best decision for the county. They're not, worried about, oh, am I going to get reelected because of this decision? Am I going to get phone calls because of this decision? It's more set up so that they can think with a clear head and not have the politics involved of it. That they're given, what the ground rules are, what their mission is, and then they follow that, to the best of their ability. Whereas a political body, as you know, gets very political. And then there becomes issues. And people make different decisions for different reasons. Where they just have a goal, and they're just marching towards the goal. And they don't have to worry about being reelected. Most LDCs don't last that long because they're designed to carry out one mission, they carry out the mission, and then it disbands.
Total different motivation for their being.
Total different motivation.
Okay. Anything you would like to add further on the broadband?
Oh, the broadband's my baby. I love the broadband topic. So as you know, if you live in the western part of Sullivan County, and this thing's just a paperweight to you because you can't use it. I mean, I live in Bethel, New York. I live at the very beginning of Bethel, New York, and I can't make a phone call in my driveway. And when I go out into my district, which is Bethel, the top part of Highland, Tustin, and Coshocton, my phone is useless. It's fascinating to me that I live in America in 2020 and I can't use my phone. I can't get messages. I can't do anything. So, and in talking with a lot of the business owners in my district along the river, that's the first question they get when people are looking at homes and looking to move to the area. How do I get broadband? How do I get Wi-Fi? And if you have children, imagine living on the western side of the county and not having Wi-Fi. I mean, this pandemic has changed everything for us through education, through health, through, everything. I mean, it's a whole new world, and you need Wi-Fi to operate in this world. And it's really is that simple, and that has quickly become the number one goal of this legislature, is to make sure that within a year and a half, 60% of the county is covered, and after our term, that it's over 80% covered. The whole county is 80% covered. And whether you're Republican or Democrat, it really doesn't matter, because I think that we all agree on this issue.
Broadband access is the infrastructure of now. It's the infrastructure of the future. And for those who have been longing to have the local cable company run service, it's costly, takes a long time if it ever gets done, because it's very cost prohibitive. There's a lot of factors driving that. So we believe we have the perfect solution, and a big thanks to Lauren Green, who's the county's CIO, and he started this.
What does that stand for, Mike?
Chief Information Officer.
Okay.
And so it's a perfect technology, wireless. So the thought of it is that the county owns not currently 9 towers. Is that correct, Rob?
10 towers, and we're building the 11th in Rock Hill.
Okay. Shortly to be 11 towers. So the thought is that equipment will be hung on these towers, and within roughly a 3.5-mile radius around those towers, there will be high-speed access available to the residents of the county. So that's the first step, is to get equipment on our county-owned towers first. That's the first phase. Beyond that, we'll take it to see what's not covered, and we'll move it forward from there. But certainly, as Rob alluded to, education, health, work at home, all these things are critical to life in the 21st century. So we will be addressing that going forward. It is super important for us to get this done, because it just helps all the way around. So with that, the next topic, Rob.
It's a topic I love.
All right, the coming changes in Move Sullivan routes, schedules, and fares.
So we're going to change some of the routes through a lot of census taking and asking people who are on the bus what's the purpose of you riding the bus. We found that most people use the bus to go to work. And if you grew up in a major metropolitan area, you understand that better than anyone. So I was born and raised in the Bronx, and if you did not have access, I had access to the 6 train. You did not go anywhere without getting on, the MTA. So in our county, it's no different. So right now, it's concentrated in the greater Monticello, Liberty, Fallsburg areas. That is the most densely populated areas of our county. So if I don't know Fallsburg and Liberty that well. I know them well enough, but I don't know them as well as I know Monticello. So if you live in Sleepy Hollow or Evergreen, Shaker Heights, somewhere like that, the concept of working in ShopRite, Home Depot, or Walmart, or even the casino is a foreign concept to you because it costs you 70% of your daily paycheck to go to work. So by doing this, you have a low fare option. I believe it's $2 to take a bus, and it will take you to work. So you could live in Sleepy Hollow, which is convenient to live in Sleepy Hollow if your kids go to Mount Central School District, because they could literally walk to school. But to walk to work, if you live in Sleepy Hollow and you have to go work at Home Depot or ShopRite, the casino, who are major employers in this county, it's nearly impossible. So while you're convenient to be close to the school, you're far from the work sources. So this will connect the county, connect those 3 townships and make a better workforce in the county. And as the workforce is able to be grown in the county, other opportunities can come to the county because we have a better workforce.
Our next subject, Rob, could you discuss the idea of evening meetings of the legislature?
Okay, so evening meetings of the legislature have been brought up many times. I believe I held a full board meeting at 5:30 back in March. It was either February. I think it was February.
Early on, yeah.
Okay, it was February. It was before I went in for surgery. So, I just wanted to see. I heard a lot about the evening meetings. I wanted to see it. So we had an evening meeting back in February before COVID. We were allowed to fill the room, and we had 3 people in the audience. The problem with evening meetings is most people, work, to 5:30, and then they want to go home and eat. They want to go home and see the kids. They want to go home and see their loved ones, and they don't actually go to the meetings. We also found that the viewership goes down on people watching the meetings live, which, our goal is to be as open as possible. So, the other issue is, for the committee meetings, a lot of the people who speak at committee meetings are county workers who start their day, generally speaking, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And we don't start the meetings till 6 o'clock, so more people can come to them, which we have proven in the past that they do not come to them. You're extending their workday by a lot. Legislators are then, who have worked the whole day at their, everyday jobs, now come to the meeting. And we found that that other people don't take each topic and give it its full course of discussion because, it tends to get rushed a little bit, because they want to go home. It's, 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock at night at this point, and they want to go home. And, I'm not saying that's the best thing, but that's what we have found in the past. And, Anne Marie Martin, who's our clerk, has said that the day meetings have always been better attended than the night meetings. And this has been tried several times over, the 20 plus years that the legislature, has been enacted.
And another concern too is perhaps childcare issues with a lot of folks. If you have two working parents, a lot of times that is an issue as well, amongst all the others that Rob mentioned. Okay, our last topic of the evening is, Rob, could you just talk to the latest on the COVID-19 statistics of the county or in the county?
Okay, so our COVID numbers, that seemed pretty dormant for a while. At one point, we were down to 2 active cases, and the hospital, was at 0 for a very long time. Unfortunately, in the last, 7 to 10 days, it has, reared its ugly head again. We currently have 23 active cases. We have 50 deaths, 48 quarantined. The good news is that we have 3,583 people off of isolation. We're about to break the 23,000 mark on tested, which is fantastic. And there's 0 people on ventilators. I think that the reason that the cases have gone up recently, I find this to be more and more true, is that people are tending to get laxed on wearing the face mask, the washing your hands. I noticed that when I walk around in different places, the jugs of the hand sanitizer always seem to be full now, where before, March, April, May, even into June, they were constantly being emptied, and now I see that people aren't using the stuff as much. So, I don't want to sound like Nancy McGraw, but she's right. You have to be vigilant on this. You have to understand that flu season's right around the corner, and that's when it's going to rear its ugly head again. And it's going to get you if you don't practice, the 6 feet or a mask, washing your hands, using the hand sanitizer, and not reading magazines that other people have read, not touching the pen that other people have used, and you have to think about it because it's coming back around. Cold and flu season's right upon us. Labor Day is next weekend, and yes, summer's over. Spice lattes, here we come.
Pumpkin donuts as well, right? Okay, we had, as I mentioned earlier, we have a question that someone submitted, and it reads, I realized that it was not possible to keep a tally of the non-resident cases of the virus on the county dashboard. I was unable to find documentation on the state dashboard, so I would like to know the number of cases for non-residents for the months of June, July, and August. I'm not sure what's going on with the state dashboard, why you could not find them. We do not obviously track the non-resident statistics. So the best answer for this right now is that if you're concerned, you can call 845-794-5627. That's the Department of Health office in Monticello. Like I said, I'm not sure what was going on with the state dashboard, why you couldn't find those, but obviously we do not track the non-resident statistics. So we covered 7 topics tonight, and going forward this will evolve as we do move forward, but the hope is that this forum will help reach you, the voters of the county. For a few of us on the current legislature, this is our first budget season that we're entering into. And when we talked to the folks last year during campaign season, we're fiscally conservative minded. The budget's a very serious matter. The money of the county is very serious matter for us. And like Rob had alluded to earlier, that the topics that have been talked about in the last few months, the care center, the 4% energy tax, the desire not to exceed the 2% tax cap, which is 3% this year, are all at the forefront of our minds, and trying to, nobody saw COVID coming. What it has done is definitely stressed the finances of the county. And we will work diligently to not exceed the tax cap and still come out of this in better, better is a tough word right now, but in good fiscal health going forward. We don't know how long the effects of this are going to last. We don't know what the state's going to do as far as state aid or a host of other things. This budget that we are working on currently addresses obviously 2021. And for certainly when it comes to the energy tax, that goes into beyond 2021, into 2022, because most assuredly 2022 is going to be impacted by COVID-19. This will have some lasting effects. It's very real. The hole we're facing is very real. Unfortunately, I've seen some comments out there, the numbers aren't right or whatever. They're right. There's the pain out there that folks are suffering is very real. We're trying to run a county, but also not adversely affect folks that are hurting. It's a very tough time. We know that, we realize that, and we're going to do everything in our power not to burden the taxpayers of the county, because you fund everything that goes on here, and we are fully aware of that. And with that being said, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a big thanks to Dan Hoost, who is behind the scenes.
Hoosty.
And thank him very much for technically putting this together. And I know Rob and myself, we look forward to having these every month. The plan is at the end of every month to review what's taken place in the legislature that month. And so it's a we hope a much more effective way to communicate. And that's we've talked to folks all the time, and that's what we want to do. We want to communicate out to folks. We realize that there's a lot of ideas out there, a lot of opinions, but we want to assure everyone that we listen to it all, and we fully realize that some things that we decide, some people are going to be happy with and some aren't. That's the nature of the beast. But you, the taxpayer, are always on our mind, and we just, if nothing else comes out of this, please take that to heart, because we take it very seriously. And with that, is there anything that you like to close with, Rob?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for their time today, and know that we are going to do the best we can on a daily basis for every resident of the Sullivan County, family.
Okay. Then, everyone, please have a good day. And until next time, bye for now.